Hello and welcome back. All right, so in this lesson, I'm going to show you how to take a few different images from the same scene and merge them together to create an HDR image. As you know, HDR stands for High Dynamic Range. And if you're in a situation where you're shooting something and you know that your camera is unable to capture the full dynamic range of a scene, for example, like this particular image here, because we do have very bright highlights and very dark shadows, sometimes in these situations, it's hard to capture the perfect exposure in camera. So in that case, what we have to do is merge different exposures into one so we can capture the highlight details and the shadow details in one image. So what I've done is I've taken 3 different exposures of this particular scene, and then we're going to go ahead and merge them together. These files are included with this lesson, so if you want to go ahead and download them, you can, or you can find them in the resources folder that you downloaded at the beginning of this course, and you'll find it in Edit Like a Pro 1, Chapter 5. So what we want to first do is open these up in ACR. So if we do that, we can click and drag these images to our Photoshop interface, and then it will open up in ACR. The only problem is we don't have a thumbnail view of all the different images. I recently updated Photoshop to the 2018 version, and I'm not sure if this is a bug or something that's missing, but we should be able to see the previews. And as you know, there are several different ways to open up files, and I do love dragging and dropping onto the interface, and it's one that I've always done, and I don't ever remember not having the thumbnails. So here's what we have to do in order to get those thumbnails back. I'm going to go ahead and cancel out of these, go back to Bridge. We're going to right click and select Open with Photoshop CC 2018, and now we can see the thumbnails. This is important because we need to be able to select all 3 images in order to merge them together. So to do that, we're going to hold down our Shift key and then click on the last image, and that will select all 3 images. All right, now we need to select the option to merge them, and it's not anywhere inside of ACR or any of the menus. It's kind of hidden. You have to right click on a thumbnail and then select Merge to HDR. Once you do that, you're going to have a preview window pop up from Adobe showing how the image will look based on the selections that you make over here. I'm going to go ahead and open up this image a little bit better. And already you can see that there's more detail in the highlights and the shadows versus the other images that we took. So one of the things you're going to want to have selected is Align Images, because as you can see, the images are kind of blurred, or what's known as ghosting effect. And that's because I didn't use a tripod to take this photo. It was handheld, and I moved as I took the different exposures. So we need to align the images, and Photoshop will do that automatically for us with Align Images. And as you can see, the image is now aligned. Autotone will make adjustments to the edit for you based on the exposure settings in the highlights and the shadows if you leave Autotone turned on. Otherwise, it's going to look like this. And I actually liked this effect better than this one here because this one is a little bit too washed out for me. We can still bring back detail in the shadows here and over here and here as well by using our local adjustment brushes in ACR. But again, this is still 10 times better than it was previously with the other exposures that we had. Next, if you want to help with the deghosting effect, you can select low, medium, or high. And then Photoshop will do its thing and it will start updating. And then we'll see if this is any better or any sharper with that option turned on. If not, then we'll go ahead and turn it off. So it actually does look a little bit sharper than it did before, so we'll go ahead and leave that on, and we can look at the overlay of where it applied the deghosting effect. All right, so once you have your selections, go ahead and click Merge. Select the folder where you want to save it, give it a name, and click Save. And that's it. We now have our image in ACR as an HDR image, And we can now go in and we can start making additional tweaks and edits to the image to make it even better than it currently is. So let's go ahead and grab our local adjustment brushes, and let's lower the exposure down to around -30. And I want to make the brush smaller with my keyboard shortcuts, which is the left bracket key, and the right bracket key is going to make it larger. So I just want to dodge this area right in this area here because it's a little too bright for me still. So I'm going to go ahead and adjust the exposure until I find a setting that I like. And I think right there will work. Let's go ahead and apply one in this area as well. So that looks pretty good. Let's create a new brush. This time I want to increase the exposure to bring back some detail in here and make this area a little bit brighter. And let's make that even brighter. So right about there should be good. I'm going to create a new brush, and I'm going to go even higher on the exposure this time. And I'm going to apply the brush down in here so I can see some of the detail over in this area. And just remember, every time you want to apply and edit to a certain location, go ahead and create a new brush. That way, if you need to tweak the edit, it's not affecting the other areas that you already edited. So for example, if I take this all the way down to black, it's not affecting any of the other areas because it's a separate brush. All right, let's do one more. And I think that's just a little too bright, so we're going to bring that down to right about there. So I think you get the idea. So go ahead and grab those 3 images, go ahead and merge them together, and then go ahead and practice with your local adjustment brushes. And that's it for this particular project. In the next lesson, I'm going to show you how to merge multiple photos to create a panoramic image.